All right, everyone, we're going to get started with our second panel of the day. And thank you to the panelists for the previous panel. That was awesome. Definitely learned a lot. Okay, well, thank you all for joining. My name is Mackenzie Feldman. I'm a grad student here at UTRGV. And I also run a nonprofit called Rewild Your Campus. And we work with students and groundskeepers around the country to eliminate herbicides from school grounds and transition to organic land care. And we really believe in empowering young people to make big change. So I'm really excited to get to moderate this and get to hear from these amazing panelists, all really inspiring young people making change. So with that, we'll get started. Well, here we have Eric Nino. Eric is an IDEA public school 7th grade student at IDEA ELSA and has been involved in farm to school programming for 2 years now. So starting very young. He values the outdoors learning experiences for its ability to teach him and his peers the importance of growing food sustainably, responsibly, and with the community in mind. And here we have Marcos Cano, a Mission CISD 16-year-old student, Mission High School, who became interested in agriculture after learning about his, I'm going to switch this paper, after learning about his grandfather's farming legacy. Initially uninterested, he joined a greenhouse class offered by his biology teacher and quickly developed a passion for growing plants and being outdoors. Marcos hopes to pursue a career in agriculture and marine biology and credits his teacher for igniting his interest in the sciences. Is that teacher here today? Oh, that's awesome, Bobby. And he's grateful for the support he has received and looks forward to using his knowledge to make a difference in the field. And next, we have Andre Gianelli Muniz Cavazos. He is a student at FAR San Juan Alamo ISD Pathways Towards Independence, a special education transition program for 18 to 21-year-olds. At PTI, Andre is working towards earning vocational certificates in landscape design and management, employability skills, cake decorating, and floral design. As part of his landscape design and management course, he's been involved in creating vegetable and butterfly gardens for the PSJA Farm to School initiative. Upon graduation in 2022, Andre plans to start working. And finally, we have Carlos Wong, a UTRGV student and worker at the Hub of Prosperity. Carlos is a sustainability advocate and farmer at the Hub of Prosperity, a completely sustainable farm in the RGV. Does anyone know the Hub of Prosperity? Maybe a show of hands. Okay, cool. Some of you. Awesome. Carlos believes in creating environmentally friendly and equitable food systems and provides free workshops in garden beds to the community. At the Hub, they grow produce without pesticides and run a farmer's market stand every Saturday offering locally grown produce. Carlos recently received the 2023 Summer Engaged Scholar and Artist Award to research sustainable solutions in mushroom production. He's interested in mycology and hopes to incorporate sustainable cultivation methods into his work at the Hub and future endeavors. Carlos aims to contribute to the advancement of knowledge in sustainable agriculture and make a positive impact on the environment. He's excited to share his passion and knowledge at the upcoming Food Summit, where we are today, where he hopes to discuss how to create a more sustainable future for all. Thank you all so much for being here. I would love to start with you, Eric. Being that you're the youngest here, it's really inspiring, and I think not many 7th graders can say that they have knowledge about agriculture. So maybe you can just share a little bit about how you got started in this and what you've learned so far.
Yes. I first got interested. It was just, I was curious to see what it was. I guess you could say I did skip PE. But it's a pretty cool place. You learn a lot there, actually, which I was pretty surprising, because I just thought that it would be not as productive as it was as I saw. There was a lot of food being produced, a lot of students learning, harvesting. It really empowers the students that they.
And what does it look like? You have like a farm on your
Yes,
campus?
so there's the rows of gardening, like the fruit, I don't know what the plots, I guess. And then there's this little shed that we come and that we speak and then we converse. And then there's a greenhouse. If you move this way, there's a little greenhouse where, little like students plants like flowers, watermelons, stuff like that. And then there's the tool shed. And then there's plots behind the tool shed. That's how it kind of looks,
And was it just something that every student had to do as part of the class, or you got to choose to do that?
We chose to do it. It wasn't mandatory. It was optional.
Awesome. That's awesome. And Marcos, what about you? You said you were initially uninterested, and then from a class you got inspired. Could you talk a little bit about how that interest was sparked in you after the class?
Well, I started off just thinking, oh, I can join this. Maybe I'll get a free period. How we all know how it goes. But after a while of just planting small things and going outside, and when it first hit me that I enjoyed it is when I first produced my very first cucumber, and I've never grown anything, and it was a shock to me, and just growing more and more, and being probably one of only a few students who gets on their knees and gets dirty in the gardens. I've grown to love being outside. I used to hate it. I hate sweating. I hate being outside. But in the garden, Mr. Escamilla can tell you how many times I've had to stay in his class to clean my pants from all the mud that I have on them. And just being out there and enjoying what this world can produce is really what sparked my honest enjoyment in gardening and growing stuff.
So you were surprised that you liked it so much?
Yes.
It's awesome. And you mentioned your grandfather's farming legacy. Could you share just a little bit about that?
I don't know too much about it. My mom didn't tell me a lot, but he grew citrus here, and he had a huge plot of land, and sadly we don't have it anymore. When he passed away, his partner was able to had the plot, and my grandma got some stuff, but we don't have it anymore to plant. But I thought that maybe I have some stuff in me that he had, and well, I didn't have confidence in it, but after being the first one to my plants to sprout big, I made jokes with my mom that maybe I have some sort of magic in me that my grandpa gave me to grow stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. That's awesome. And for Andre, we're going to actually put up the photos of him farming and ask him to just share a little bit about that. Can you share, I don't know if you can see Andre, but just can you walk us through what you're doing in each of these numbers, starting with number 1?
Hola, ¿se me escucha? Lo que hicimos en la número 1 es que hicimos unas camas de madera para las plantas para que se podían cosechar bien.
Well, we did some wood beds for the plants so we can cultivate properly.
And what about in number 2 and number 3?
Primero, en el número 2 pusimos la tierra, pero diferente para las plantas. En la encima de las camas que hicimos para que se pudieran cosechar bien y no tener ni un problema. Es porque también hay que checar que la tierra esté buena y que no había insectos. Más porque últimamente hubo unos mordiscos en las plantas. Y es por los gusanos que se alimentan de las plantas.
Well, on the first image, we placed some dirt above the beds to make sure that we were able to do a good harvest of the plants. And we had to put extra attention because there were bugs on the bed, and some of the plants were bugs, mostly worms.
El número 3 es casi de las dos, porque estuvimos poniendo unas jaulas para los tomates para que se pusieran de pie, porque se veía que estaban muy caídos. Era más para ayudar a que no estén ni abajo, porque depende, porque a veces no se cosechan bien y mueren al final. Así que por eso pusimos unas jaulas de metal ojo para que se pudieran, a menos no estar así.
And on the next image, we actually placed some cages for the tomatoes because that way we made sure that they have a structure, so enough to be sufficiently not too close to the ground, and we had to make sure that these were made out of metal.
El número 4, estuvimos llevando unas mesas para los estudiantes de pequeños o de kinder, más para ayudarles, porque a veces cuando termine de sembrar las semillas de la tierra, para que los chicos pudieran descansar, ya que es un trabajo largo.
And on the number 4 image, we actually placed some tables for the kindergarten students, for the small children, when they were planting seeds, because we know that this is hard work.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you want to just fill us in on the last two as well.
En las 5 fuimos a una escuela para enseñar fuimos a una escuela para enseñar a unos niños, yo y mis compañeros, a cómo hacer batidos con las frutas que cosechamos, para aprender cómo se puede consumir con diferentes.
On the 5th image, you can see that we went to some schools and we showed the students how to prepare shakes with the fruits that we actually harvested.
Y en las 6 fuimos a los estudiantes de la escuela y del food bank y estuvimos dando como decir frutas a los estudiantes para que pudieran llevarse a la casa y saborear cómo saben las frutas, como las manzanas, las bananas, las peras, las vegetales.
And on the last image, we actually, with the help of the food bank and the school, we handed out some fruits for the students so they can take them home and they can get to know and experience new flavors of fruits such as apples, bananas, pears, and many vegetables.
Oh, that's awesome. And what is your favorite part of the program?
Lo que más me gustó fue el número 6, porque fue genial poder darles a los niños que las frutas que nosotros estuvimos cosechando, que pudieran a menos dar curiosidad cómo es las plantas, cómo hacer todo lo que hicimos. Que le dé la curiosidad.
My favorite one was the number 6 because it was an awesome experience because we actually gave the students fruits that we actually harvested ourselves, and especially because we sparked their curiosity. So we actually sparked their curiosity.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And Carlos, you started in high school, from my understanding, getting involved in the hub, and now you're in college and you're working there as a farmer. Could you talk a little bit just about how that all happened?
Yeah, it was great. I started last summer volunteering at the Hub of Prosperity, and it started something small with my own little plot producing cilantro and jalapenos. It quickly moved on to them sharing their knowledge with me. It wasn't so much of a step of getting like getting a job there, right? We started learning about crop rotation, soil management, sustainable agriculture, and all that. And I initially was, I guess, headed to being an engineer in my thoughts, but this horticulture class that I took as well with Mr. Scamilla in Mission High School, it changed my view, and sharing my knowledge with all these other like young people, they made my mindset change to now want to major in sustainable agriculture. I just say thanks, you know, because it's actually pretty good career to be involved. This is the future, and if we don't involve it into our like, I guess, schemas of our life, we won't have food soon.
Yeah, and what made you initially start volunteering in the summer?
So I saw like, I guess we kind of needed a little bit of help at the hub, and I was more than happy to help out. And so we have a market every Saturday, and seeing the same customers and even new customers come out, it kind of like, you know, like Andres said, it sparked some curiosity within myself.
That's awesome. It seems like quite a few of the teachers of these students have been in the agro-ecology program here, which is pretty awesome. Maybe raise your hand if you're a teacher here that has done the agro-ecology program. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. It's just really, really inspiring. Yeah, I was wondering, could be really for anyone, but do you feel like there is a lot of interest in your generation to do this kind of, more sustainability minded? Are you seeing that with your peers? No?
Not at all.
Do you want to maybe you can use
A lot of kids my age, they're more focused on the devices than anything else. And I'm one of those kids, but I'm learning to see the world around me for what it truly is, relish in the little things, be it how our food is produced, where it comes from, what it tastes like, It gives a sense of life that it can be sweet and bitter at the same time, you know what I mean? But, yes, a lot of kids this day and age are very, very addicted to their phones. And it can cause a lot of problems mentally and socially. They might dislike themselves for who they are. They might compare them to others. I just feel like the gardening and farming is a very healthy habit to get away from all of that noise in your head,
It's so true. It's so true. That's why it's so awesome that your schools provide you with that outlet, because I think, it's so true. What about?
I wanted to touch into this topic. I see a lot of my I guess mates in the hub that we want to be. We want to be like socially I guess we want to be sustainable, right? We want to do zero waste. Try to help out and volunteer in food banks and all that stuff. But like he said, within ourselves, we are kind of device and stuff like that. But I am seeing with my generation that we are making the mindset change into wanting to do that. And I think that's the first part, wanting to do it. And that's what I kind of wanted to communicate to you guys.
Yeah.
Starting.
And you were gonna go into engineering. Do you feel like there is not enough education or awareness around viable careers in food systems? Do you think that's something people just don't know that could even be a job, whether it's a farmer but also just working in the food system in some way? Do you feel like that is not something that people your age are really getting exposed to?
Well, me having the fortune to be exposed to the hub, I did see the problems of the food systems that we are facing into our education systems, we previously mentioned in the panel before of us. And I guess it developed some sort of I was desperate to find that type of food system, and I guess that's where the engineering like thing came from wanting to solve problems, and this is one of the problems that I'd like to solve.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for Andres, what was the most challenging part about the program?
La parte más retadora, creo que eso sería como cómo cosechar las plantas, cómo mantenerlas vivas, porque primero está hecho que necesitan como 5 cosas, como agua, buena tierra, también buena luz, pero luz también buena ah, clima y abejas. Sí, el polen de esas se usa mucho.
Well, the challenging part will be harvesting the crops, but also we need to consider that there are 5 steps to harvest and to cultivate plants. First of all, we have to have water. We have to have good quality when it comes to dirt. We have to have good lighting, and also the weather, and bees especially, because they play a huge part in the pollination.
Exacto. Y también los maté de vivo, así que no los maté.
And also, bees keep plants alive, so please do not kill bees.
Yeah, and Marcos, to turn it back to you, do you feel like this, you want to keep using this knowledge to make a difference in the field? Where are you looking ahead? Just what do you see yourself doing in the future?
Well, originally, of course, like you said, I wanted to do something in marine biology. That was always my goal. But ever since joining this class, I was hoping to do something that kind of mixed the both. And like Mr. Escamilla told me, like there are some efforts out there to help also grow like coral reefs, because they're a dying species, and bleaching and all this stuff that's going on. The ocean is our probably most important ecosystem that we have, and along with our plants, like algae produces most of our oxygen and all this stuff that we need. But we kind of we want to grow stuff here like on land that is foremost so we can eat, but we also don't have to put like the ocean in the back burner as well, because the two fields are not so different.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you feel the same challenges that Andre was talking about with the harvesting and stuff?
Yes, of course. Harvesting is very scary, because if you do it too early, it might not taste good, and if you do it too late, they're already blooming and they're producing seeds. So it's a scary step in gardening, of course, but it's something that we all look forward to. When we plant something, harvest day is probably the best day that comes around. And if you don't mind, I would like to go back to a previous one about our generation, and focusing about like if we like they're interested in any of this stuff. I think my generation, and maybe some others as well, is more focused on like some previous questions in the last one, like the organic stuff. But real like organic stuff does not look pretty. Like it's not wax covered apples and perfect oranges. If you were to give someone like a freshly grown orange, there's like some like wind marks and stuff, and no one's gonna probably want to eat that. But that's better than like perfect round bright colored oranges that we see out all the time. And I think people are more focused on, like was said earlier, the presenting others, but rather than it's actually what it's made of and what we did to get it.
Do you feel like for all of you, you appreciated those imperfect looking foods more once you started working in the farm or garden?
Yes, the first cucumber that grew, they weren't pretty, but I do think they tasted better than store-bought ones. And You know, some plants, they have some like marks and stuff, but they 100% taste better than what you would find in the store, all like shiny looking and all this stuff.
Yeah. And have any of you been able to inspire your family members or your friends to get interested in this because they're seeing your interest?
My grandpa started a garden on his house with me.
Oh.
We're growing some stuff. You know, it's very good to spend time with like the family doing stuff. Like my mom, I take care of her like her lawn and stuff. And with this, like I've also convinced some of my classmates even in some of my classes that I have like freshmen. I talk to them about this class, and I think I've recruited like 3 of them to join next year, and that is the most amazing feeling to me.
That's awesome. Anyone else? If you want to share.
What was the question again?
Just have you been able to inspire your family members or any friends after they see your interest in this?
I'm going to be honest. No, not really. No, not at all. My sister has been more connected to her phone since the term started, and I always wondered why was that. Well, she's going to middle school, of course, you know. And I have told some of my friends the benefits of the program because how it relieves you, you feel calmer, a sense of peace, you know, stuff like that. But of course, you know, they can have their own opinion, yes or no. And no, not really. Not a lot of people have been interested, but like I understand, you know, to them it just seemed as some boy and old farm program where you go out and you skip PE. They see it as just a free period, but that's not the case. There's a lot of stuff you can gain from the program, from experience and from learning. It's just it benefits you a lot more than you would think, you know?
Yeah.
You should always try new things.
I do want to open it up to questions very soon, and if you don't have an index card, hopefully you should, but there should be some extras on some seats. But first, I just want to ask one more question. You know, what are the ways in which the folks sitting here, you know, there's a lot of teachers here, there's other young people. How do you, if you have any advice for other young people sitting in this room, we'll start with that, and then, yeah.
I think that we should start advocating our young people into this agriculture and sustainable agriculture food systems, simply because they are the next wave of our generation. In simple words, they're going to be the next lawmakers, the next agro producers, like I said, the next generation. And for our teachers out there, if we start like implementing small like forms of, I guess, agriculture, we could implement them to the students without them even knowing, without like them feeling it into it. This is becoming a norm of our future, and this like pushing them into the young people, we could maybe have a more secure food system into our education systems in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else? Advice for teachers here, or for, you know, how can we help our young people, support young people?
Something that we all have to know about this field, it's not easy. Like we said, it's not just a class to skip. You're gonna have to be on the ground, you're gonna have to dig. But the reward you get from seeing small seeds turn into, a beautiful plant and growing with you is something that you can't just like buy or see somewhere else. You have to experience it. The feeling of watching something go from a small seed to a huge plant producing fruit is probably the greatest feeling I've experienced in this class.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anyone else?
Advice I would have?
Yeah. Advice, how people can support young people, or for young people here, you know, what are the ways what would you say?
Well, you could always just tell them the pros and the cons. tell them the benefits and then tell them the issues. You might get dirty, you might get smelly, you might get sweaty. I know a lot of people that don't like that, but there's a lot of benefits. I already talked about like how emotional and social and mental benefits, but a lot of physical ones too. It gets you in shape. You harvest, you get dirty, whack the broccolis, chili, I don't know. It's a lot. And for some people it can feel overwhelming, or they can just feel alone sometimes. That feel like they have no one to support them. But as long as they know there's one person who wants them to be there, be it a teacher or a friend or a stranger maybe, then they'll want to go. Because everybody wants that feeling of love and respect and kindness. So my advice would be, if you want someone to be integrated and be interested in programs like these, you need to show them those things: love, kindness, being wanted. And they'll see what it is, what it's for.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, give him a round of applause. Thank you. That's so great. I'm thinking about the Hub of Prosperity, and I feel like a lot of people just go because it's like a lot of really nice people, and it's like fun to hang out and have a community, and then then they get the benefits of learning how to farm.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I mean, it's very easy to get involved into this community. You could start small by maybe a small garden bed in the back of your house. I know my Hispanic family has recently started composting, which is not so normal. We've been composting and stuff like that. We have volunteering hours at the Hub of Prosperity for anyone that wants to come out. And we always have tasks available for you guys. But yeah, I mean, just get involved, and it's a very learning community, and we're not gonna get mad at you for holding some tool wrong or something like that. But yeah, come out, guys.
Okay, we got a lot of really great questions here. This first one is actually about the hub, so maybe you can give a little bit more of. This one is, where is the Hub of Prosperity located? Is it open to the public? Do you accept volunteers? What are the vegetables that grow best in the state of Texas? And maybe also if you can make another plug about the farmers market in case people didn't hear that.
Okay, so that's a lot of information. So
get out your pens and write this down.
So the Hub of Prosperity is located on Monmac and 107, so pretty close by. And we do have volunteer hours. They do change with the daylight saving times. So you could check those out on our Instagram page, I believe so. 8 to 11. Thank you. Yeah, and then on Saturday we have the neighborhood market, which is 10 to 12, right? 10 to 12, and we have lots of produce. Right now I'm not so sure because we grow everything it's just so much to remember, right? And to the answer of what grows best here, so if you guys may not be aware, we do have the we could grow everything we want here basically, and we have 8 months of sun. So I hope that answers your question. If not, we have some seeds have a seed library at the Hub of Prosperity, and you could try growing whatever you want. Really.
And if you have more questions, maybe raise your hand if you work at the hub, so people can come and find you. Yes, awesome. Okay, yeah, so you can go find any of them. For any of you, has this program changed the way that you eat? Do you now question where the food comes from that you get at home or at school?
For me, it's less wondering where stuff comes from and more appreciating, like was said earlier, even the fruits that look like they're dirty, or like oranges that have like rough marks on them. I know they're not bad. They're just as good, if not better, than any other oranges you can find. And at school, even I used to never eat stuff at healthy stuff at school, obviously. A lot of kids don't. But being in this class and growing stuff with my own hands, I know that people put time into this stuff, and not eating them and wasting the food is not a good thing to do. So every time I get my lunch, I'll make sure I finish that first, and then go on to the main options, and all this other stuff. That this has helped me think about my food.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Like adding to that, I feel like that kind of sense like the farmer put into the work of the produce that you're eating, right? And I feel like you have a sense more of eating that if it came locally, right? And if you knowing the farmer producers, it's even better. So I mean, that's a heads up for local producers.
I wonder who this one came from. Can I convince you to come work for Sodexo when you are working age? We need this energy. Quick plug for Sodexo there. Okay, this one is interesting. Why didn't your female classmates volunteer to be here on stage? What are ways you think to make these spaces more welcoming? Maybe it was just the people chosen, I don't know, but do you feel like it's pretty male-dominated in the garden farming spaces?
From personal experience in my class, including me, there's like 3 guys who can get on the floor and plant stuff, and every single girl in that class is doing on the ground working, and they all have their own stuff. So in my class, at least, the girls are way above us.
I just want to add to that one. The hub, me and Dr. Celis are like the only guys. So, so I guess you could get the idea that the girls are pretty present at this production of the hub, and without them we wouldn't really be here. So it's not really that they're not up here, but I guess they like pushed me on top of here.
In my class, the students that do go, it's mostly girl-dominated. There's only 2 guys in my class that go to the farm program. Well, 3 counting Farmer Jordan. And I'm not sure why those girls didn't come. I mean, they're pretty shy. Maybe that's one reason, but maybe they just felt that I was more confident. I don't know. I don't understand them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome to hear that it's a lot of female-dominated, and yeah, well, we'll do more panels and bring them up here next time. Andre, do you want to add anything?
Bueno, hay mujeres en mi clase, sí, aunque no todos. Es porque siento que hay muchos hombres que mujeres. Es que no sé si es por nace la mayoría hombre o y eso, porque yo no sé de la autonomía humana. No sé si como es eso, y ni quiero ver cosas personales. Hay muchos que les gusta plantar.
Well, in my class, I don't know if there are many girls in the class that are participating in this sort of hands-on activities. Not all of them are participating. I feel that more guys. I don't know. It may be because of more guys and girls. It may be those around as well. I don't know. They're not that permitted in my class. But I do know that they're quite good.
Gotcha. Cool. And this is a comment, not a question, but just says, thank you for being so brave to speak on this panel. You all are a hopeful representation of our next generation. So, really. Okay. And on that note of just being this being these leaders in the field for our next generation, where do you see yourselves being in 5 to 10 years from now?
I want to be a doctor. So if I'm 5 to 10 years, well, in 5 I still be in school. But in 10,
You'll still be in school if you want to be a doctor.
well, yeah. Let's say 20, okay? 20 years. If I was to become a doctor, I guess I would focus more on diets, and like taking care of your gut, because a lot of people do not eat properly. They eat junk food, they eat candies, they eat sweets, It's just all this stuff. And I've been starting to not drink as much soda or eat as much candy when I started the farm program, because it made me realize that, taking care of your body is very important. You want to, live long. You want to be healthy. You want to be active. So, hey, what was the question again?
Where you see yourselves being. So as a
Okay,
doctor,
I feel like I
you
was
would-
moving off topic.
No, it's good. So as a doctor, you would want to use what you learned.
Yes, I
in
would use what I would learn in the farm program to, give to my patients, in a way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. We need more doctors like that. Anyone else want to share?
Well, in 5 years, hopefully, I'll be here, UTRGV.
Woo.
I've been here at the garden. I've been working on the farm, and I know that there's a good program here for that. And Mr. Escamilla has told me, about his stories here, and looking forward to it. I graduate in 2 years, so this hopefully what I'm looking forward to. And after that, like I said, probably a job, maybe hopefully working on like coral or some other stuff in marine biology and botany.
Andre, I know in the bio it said you want to start working when you finish. Do you know where you want to work?
Hay muchas opciones. Es que yo no leo el futuro y eso. Así que podría trabajar en cualquier lugar. Es que no solamente necesitas un plan, necesitas como la letra abecedario, hasta la A hasta la Z o eso, para así puedes trabajar cualquier cosa. Si crees que eres bueno en eso, hazlo. No dudes. Si no, ¿cómo vas a saber si puedes hacerlo si no te atrevas?
Well, for the future, I have many plans, but the thing is, I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know how to predict the future. However, I could work anywhere, but we do know that we need a plan, and we need a plan. Everything is from A to Z, so there's several steps that one must take to work. I think that if you believe in something, you can do it, then go for it. Don't hesitate and go for it. How would you know what to do if you don't try it?
Yeah, totally. Thank you. And last but not least, Carlos, where do you see yourself being in 5 to 10 years?
I see it's so easy for them to answer, but when it comes to me, I see it a little bit more difficult. What I do see myself doing is being a sustainable agriculture advocate and getting the food to the systems and just creating sustainable solutions for the problems that we have here local, not so far, not in Africa, not across the globe, right here where we are, where we sleep, where we eat. Yeah.
Thank you all so much. We're going to wrap up the panel, and just another round of applause for these amazing young people.